Right, I'm sort of laughing in a world of like, what the F? I'm back here with my lovely friend Kim Dammegard, and we're for a Life Uncensored, a Life Unfiltered chat. And Kim, WTF? How are you? How are you? Because you've had a very interesting week.
I'm really, really good. Um, it's laughable what's going on in the world, so I don't pay so much attention to it. Of course, I help my husband to put together, I collect some information that he needs to find the truth, what really happened. Was he shot? Was he not shot? Blah, blah, blah. But let's not talk about that because it's a non-stop circus, isn't it? So I'm good. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good, and we're going to be talking about the circus today and about how, as humans, so many of us are addicted to drama, addicted to stress. So, let's get the elephant out of the room before we get into the real meaty gritty, because Ole is doing a webinar on Sunday about the Trump shooting, and so many people, because depending where you are in the world, how you're feeling about yourself, what your own circumstances are, it is, of course, the big talking point at the moment. So tell us about the seminar that you and Ole are running on Sunday and how people can sign up for that.
He's doing a live on Sunday, and depending on where you are in the world, if you can't make it live, because then you actually got a chance to ask questions in the chat. So if you can't make it live, the recording will be sent to you the day after. So he has gathered information that I think will blow the hat off some people, because this is just the craziness that he saw it in 2 seconds. He saw
Yeah.
it because he's been doing this for 40 years. And obviously a lot of other people see it as well, but the information that he has is he says nobody else has seen it yet the way he has seen it, so it's going to be an interesting one for sure. So you just go to lightonconspiracies.com, and it's in the slide there. You just click on the Trump shot or not, it says. It's a big thumbnail there as well, and then you sign up. It's on donation,
Love
so
it. I'll
yeah.
put all the link below. And one of the reasons why I am definitely going, and all the links will be below, and one of the things is because I know what I feel happened. So I haven't shared it with anyone, and I'm not going to at the moment, because for me, I think this is a really good way to really see how tapped into your intuition you are.
Mm.
And I think it can help us all. So sometimes these situations, we're talking today about addicted to drama, addicted to stress. And please, when people are watching that, it doesn't mean this is a conscious thing. It's the way a lot of us have been programmed. It's the way a lot of us have been brought up. We're not saying that we want to be like this, that it's a conscious decision, are we?
No. No, absolutely not. And the propaganda is strong at the moment. So even if your intuition is strong normally, if you keep watching the brainwashing machine that I call the TV, it's it's really pointed and controlled. So yeah, I totally agree with you. So it's I think to be aware, it's important these days. And to be aware, you need to have, I see it as two maps. You have the mainstream media, you got BBC and CNN and Fox News and all that, but then you got the alternative side as well that digs a little bit deeper, that I call the real journalists. And when you have both, then you can navigate in the world. But if you're only watching the mainstream, then of course your brain, your body is gonna come to conclusions that are controlled in that way. So I think it's important to have both.
So important. And I think you've just been through a really interesting process that I'd like you to sort of talk us through some of your learning points in. But one of the things that applies to me is, I think, is we forget that it can apply both ways. So if you only listen to the alternative, you can be equally brainwashed in another respect. So keeping, the Aristotle, keep your mind open, but when you can entertain an idea but not be attached to it, is such an important skill for us all in life in general, whatever stage of life we're at. So talk us through some of what you've been up to, as much as you want to share, and some of the real either aha moments or reminders of what you already knew but perhaps had let slip a little bit.
Well, we just did a 7-day Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat here at home. Because we really wanted to go actually to a 7-day retreat, but it was in Europe, and I'm going to Europe anyway in November, and it was just too much money basically. So I set up to do it here at home for 7 days, exactly the same schedule that he has, with the online course and the meditations and everything like that. We even drove around the block checking in symbolically, and plugged everything out, all work and everything. So from 6 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock at night. And we've been meditating a lot before. We've been doing Joe Dispenza's guided meditations as well. But for me, the big thing was to actually understand more how the brain works and how the body works, and how we go on autopilot because the mind doesn't do the choosing any longer. The choices I make or did make, as it's like my body is doing it, because we do the way we think and do and feel is our personality. And if we do the same, the body remembers that. And then, so if you want to change your life, you need to a little bit change your personality as well. So if you wake up in the morning, you do the same thing, you put the coffee on, and you think, and then you start tasting, you're feeling, and then you go again and again and again, year out, year in, and then you think, why doesn't my life change? And the biggest one for me was that I didn't have a clue that the body is actually chemically addicted to stress, to lack, because the body recognizes that it's in the know, and that's where it wants to stay. So for example, high blood pressure, I think it's somewhere 80% in the Western world, everybody's got high blood pressure. And that is connected with those chemicals in the body and the brain. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. People need to know this. But obviously, it's timing for everybody. I've tried to send it a little bit to my kids and to my mom and to my niece, because I get so excited when I stumble over something like this. I just want to share it with everybody. And then I think at the other end that they're going to pick it up. But you know, it's timing in everybody's life. It's certain people are like, no, I can't do that, because it's a lot of information to take. And obviously the body doesn't want that. It wants to stay in the same, where it's comfortable. We know this. It doesn't want to challenge and go somewhere else. So that was a biggie for me, to realize that we are addicted to being in victim mode or lack or stress, because the body wants it and needs it, and the brain especially. And the coherence as well. I understand what coherence is in the brain, but here, you know, he explains it so beautifully. I think if you have a big stadium full of people and everybody's clapping in different, rhythms, it's very disorganized. That's how the brain is when it's not in coherence. And then you go to a music concert and everybody's clapping in the same rhythm. That's when it's in coherence. And when the brain is in coherence, it's also start being in coherence with the heart, and the heart is the magnet. So it's been overwhelmingly good and so challenging as well. It's been some days with some tears because stuff comes up, but also he's amazing doing these guided meditation. It took me to another place where I've never ever been before, and I've been meditating off and on for over 20 years. So super excited and happy about it. But when people realize that they are addicted to the life that they might not want to be in or don't want to be in, and then they blame the surroundings and the environment, their boss, their brother-in-law or whatever it is. But when they realize that this is quite easily fixed, actually, if you just give yourself an hour a day or two even, to go into meditation, you heal on so many levels, not just the head, because the head is quite tricky to control. But it's on so many levels. We heal the body, blood pressure, sleeping better, well, all this. But for me, it's amazing to do. And I so recommend listening to his talks. There's one on Gaia called Rewired. I think it's 7 episodes if you don't want to do the course. But in that series, he explains it's like half an hour episodes. So the first is the brain, the second is why don't we change?
Yeah.
And then he takes it in different steps and what actually scientifically happens in the body. So it's super exciting.
I love it. And I think we discussed, I think it was probably in our first talk, this fascination about even when we know these things and we know they work, why it's so hard for us to implement them. And it's down to this addiction. And I have shared with my audience before, but someone to me years ago said to me something that was so profound and so simple. Are you an arsonist firefighter? Because my corporate job was very much in project management, risk management. So you get very programmed to see out the risks and look for them and put mitigating actions in place before they occur. Yeah. And it's really fascinating that actually we don't realize all these subconscious programs that we're running. And I love the way, I know last week, I think it was, we talked about Wim Hof. And there's all these different ways that people can do it. But there's a lot of research now that shows, because most of us in the Western world, it's hard to say this, Kim, without it sounding, because everyone's like, well, you don't know my situation and anything. Of course, we are all in different situations, and the challenges we can change dramatically depending what stage of your life, what's happening with your loved ones, what's happening with yourself. But we're so addicted to comfort now. And I've been really realizing this myself about, it's interesting, mentally I can challenge myself a lot and always have done, but physically I've got really lazy at challenging myself. And there's so much research now that comfort really is the killer of dreams, of health, of intuition, of living the life that we want to live, of being on the planet that we want to live. That fits in a lot, I think, with what you were just saying.
Absolutely. But it's hard. I think anybody can do this, but it's hard to tell the brain when the body is actually in charge to sit down, close your eyes, and even if it's just 5 minutes, you can find 5-minute guided meditations even if your body doesn't want to sit down, because the body doesn't want to sit down and close your eyes, because then the mind goes, oh, I need to pick up the kids, I have to do the washing, I have to do the shopping, or whatever it is. To actually demand to the body to sit down for 5 minutes is really hard, because that's the old self and the old memories and the old comfort zone. So what came up as well, because if you want to change your environment and change your life in whatever field that is, if you want to find your loved one, if you want to be rich or healthy or whatever it is, you need to remember your future, which sounds a bit weird, but if you don't have a vision or a clear mental picture of who you want to become, then you're never going to get there. So it sounds a bit woo-wee maybe, but when you start going down, who am I really, and where do I want to be in 6 months, and how do I want to wake up, and in all things in life. So starting to remembering my future really helps me, because then when I sit in meditation and the thoughts come up, because I'm such a doer as well, I always got stuff I need to do and I need to sort this out and I want to have everything organized, because that's just who I am or who I was. Then when stuff comes up, I go, oh, it's you again, and then it disappears in a millisecond. It's gone, because then I'm back again, and then I sit there and then, oh, it's you again, and it's gone. Because it doesn't serve me any longer. I need to step into my new me, who I want to be, which is going to take work. And the only work I need to do really is meditate. And it's getting more and more into the place where I'm looking forward to it. So I do it twice a day now. And everybody can do that, but you need to really have a clear mind where and who you want to be, because then you can use that. And any thoughts that come up, you just go, oh, it's you again, because that's not you. That's the body telling you, why are you sitting here? Oh, it's uncomfortable, it's too hot, it's too cold. It's like anything it like comes up that the body wants to move. It doesn't want to sit there because you've got a million things to do that is more important. But actually nothing is more important than doing my meditation. It's non-negotiable for me at the moment. And we promised each other to do it for a while now, and then we see after that. But I want to really, my goal is to be in coherence all the time. So my brain is in coherence with my heart 24/7. I know I'm far from it. I need to work at it because my meditation has been off and on for the last 2 years, I think. So yeah, that's a good one, you know, is that, you know, you again. And it stops. It's true. Try it. It really stops.
Yeah, I'd love to hear people's comments below about how they've tried this. Are they willing to try it? And there's so many free resources out there that you can get to now. There's some really good paid ones, there's some really good free ones, whatever works for you. Some people in their current sales like to pay for something because then they'll commit to doing it. Other people don't have that barrier, you know, whatever's right for you at the time. But these little things, it's so funny actually, because this morning when I was doing my animals, which I love, and we've been noticing that the weather's been terrible in the UK, there's so few insects out, but I still went out and there's one hedgerow in one of the horses' fields, and in fact all over the horses' fields actually, because I let them go really wild. And it was such a metaphor and such a message to me, is that when we stop interfering and start doing less, then things start to sort themselves out. And there were all these blackberries growing already on the bushes, and it was wild, and this is where all the insects were. And you're like, always just go back to that simplicity of nature. Okay, when does nature thrive? What lessons can I learn from that? And how can I then implement them? Because it's all very well, as you say, knowing it up here, but not implementing them. So I really hope you're enjoying this podcast as much as I am. And I just wanted to take a little break to tell you about the amazing products by the sponsor of this podcast, the biophotonic EMF and bioresonance devices, which help us take our healing to the next frequency. So let me start with the bioresonance devices. Biophotonic have two amazing little devices, the little BioNexus and the biophotonic, and both of these are really the next generation in bioresonance devices. So let's start with the little BioNexus. This amazing little device literally sits in the palm of your hand, and it's now my go-to support, especially when doing my daily manifestations and affirmation practices. But it will balance out my frequency to work on whatever needs balancing for me right here, right now. So what are some of the benefits of this little BioNexus? Improved energy, decreased inflammation, supports our immune system, psychological homeostasis. But also it supports the integrity of the cells, improves our memory, cognitive, emotional and psychological states, and speeds up recovery. And just like we've been talking about today, it really improves human consciousness support. Now, the other bioresonance device, the biophotonic, absolutely amazing little device, comes preloaded with a range of therapies. And this will clear parasites, giving active protection. You can wear it with you. It comes in a little pouch that you can wear around your neck, and it detoxifies heavy metals, clears EMF radiation out of cells, cleanses bacteria and viruses, detoxes chemicals and toxins, DNA repair, pain repair, you name it. And it's even got calming meditation practices that, well, complexes that you can run to strengthen the aura field, and frequency packs can also be added to your water. I think we all know the detrimental effects now of mobile, Bluetooth, and EMF radiation. They've been extensively studied, and I've done loads of videos on it. So minimizing our exposure is crucial. So what's really key is both the Biophotonic and the BioNexus. They're standalone, lovely little devices that don't require Bluetooth connection, a Wi-Fi connection. You don't need to buy any frequency packages. There's no subscription fee, and you don't need a mobile phone to control them. There's no electrodes. They're completely wireless, ready to use straight from the box. So you can get these and a full range of EMF protection devices that you can use for yourself and your pets. Don't forget to use coupon code CE20 to get 20% off all products, including EMF protection. Thank you. And now back to the podcast. One thing from that, I love what you just said then. I can't wait to hear if everyone else is willing to give it a go. With everything that's going on in the world at the moment, you know, we are on this human planet, so we are part and parcel of that. And you know, there can be big advantages to being part of that, to live your life and live a fulfilled life. How are you looking at balancing the two, Kim? So what lessons have you learned from the last week of that really intensive tuning in and getting into coherence about balancing that with everyday life, so to speak?
Yeah, for me personally, but I've said this for years now because I've from mainstream media and the craziness, because it's just, for me, it's almost like an illusion that what is going on, because it's so crazy. How can it get any crazier? So, and now I see it more, if people really can help themselves first and raise the energy within themselves and let the heart and brain talk to each other, I think we're going to raise the frequency of this world in a beautiful way. But people are in fear, they're in stress, they're in lack, they're in victim mode. Then they live in this 3D world and a very material world. So I see it, we can only heal it with love, I think, you know, and then that needs to start from within, which is also easier said than done. I'm working to love my body at the moment, because after 3 kids, being 57, you know, it's like, don't recognize myself in there anymore.
I'm with you on that.
I'm sitting, meditating, holding my jelly belly and like,
yeah.
oh, you know, it's because I'm healthy. God damn it. You know, I got my body, it's healthy, and I'm never in pain. What am I complaining about? It's just this conditioning and programming that I've had in my entire life being a woman. So yeah, I'm just working on myself, having fun with it, and being in a high frequency. I think it's and it's fun as well, because I see myself now. I went to a shopping mall the other day, which I actually hate, but I walked slower, and I'm, you know, walking around, looking, and so I'm more aware of how I step my feet in the world on all levels. So that's just the way I work. I mean, people work in different ways, but finding that higher energy and frequency within, it's so fulfilling on so many levels. And Ola and I said yesterday, it feels like something is happening, something is going on, but we can't put the finger on what it is at the moment. But it feels, you know, because you're stepping into a different, it's almost like a different dimension.
I so agree.
Especially when you sit and close your eyes and just be with it and incorporate the breath and just, you know, breathing in your belly. People breathe up here, you know, they don't get enough oxygen. So yeah, that's just how I do it. How do you do it?
Well, very, very similar. And I know I sort of, you know, I've found things that really work for me. So working for me, I've created a lifestyle. I'm so lucky. I've got lots of animals that depend on me for a lot of decisions, because, you know, they can't go out and buy their own food and choose their own field and or whatever it might be. So creating a lifestyle where a service, because when I'm helping the animals, I'm helping everything. I'm helping myself. You know, we have this term rescue animals, but who's rescuing who? And something just really occurred to me when you were saying that, Kim. It's like there's so much criticism about no one's here to save us. You know, stop looking for a savior outside of yourself. But what really has occurred to me when you were talking there is the fact that in nature, if you're in a herd, if you're in a pack, different individuals will fulfill different roles. And we're sitting here, so many of us, I'm using the sort of royal we, as we say in the UK. I'm not pretending that everyone watching this thinks this. Please don't think I'm insulting you. But as humanity, let's just say, we criticize people that step up to the plate to do public roles, whether that be a monarchy or a parliament or whatever, politicians, whatever. But we've created the need for those roles by not doing the work ourselves. So when we do the work ourselves, that need for that role will fall away. So just to put it as a practical example, you know, I saw Trump's campaign's latest advert, which was very compelling. It was beautifully produced about, you know, I'm not here, you know, I'm here to protect you, I'm here to save you. But once we don't need saving, then we're not energetically putting out a need for people to come in, and whether it's real or not, to feel that they need to fulfill those roles. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? We're so quick to criticize the people at top without realizing what energy has created that monster, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we were chatting before you hit record, and I'm a complete anarchist. And then they go, oh my God, it's going to be mayhem on the streets. No, actually, an anarchist is something beautiful, I think, because I don't believe I think we need rules, because people need rules, but we don't need rulers that we are controlling us at the moment on all levels and programming us in crazy, you know, it's very, very dark and satanistic, actually. So the system is broken and we need to fix it, and then we have to start from within. I mean, it's quite simple actually, but we complicate it, and we don't want to do the work because I've got an appointment at the hairdressers, and you know, oh my God, sitting half an hour in meditation, even though it's easy actually when you do them guided. So
Easy. It's
yeah.
so easy. And putting this out there in terms of playing real sort of devil's advocate, which is an awful term in itself. But look, you know, we're moaning about things like 15-minute cities, control things. I mean, you know, it is the Hunger Games. As far as I can see, I can't see any difference. But equally, if we can't prove as sovereign citizens that we can behave in a responsible and loving way, why are we blaming these mad controllers for trying to then put systems in place?
Yeah, good question.
Sense, you know, it's like it does make me laugh in a way. It's like, you know, I've got lots of friends that are school teachers teaching all different ages of children, and the fact of the matter is you know, the less people behave, the more discipline they put in place to try and counteract that. So if we all start just acting a little bit more civilly, there won't be any need for all these things. Energetically, we won't be attracting them. But if every time we leave an aggressive response on a social media page, we don't let a friend express their opinion without judging them, you know, there's a big difference to me between, you know, agreeing to disagree is a very different energy to try to persuade someone to think of yours. If you opening up to discussions and thinking, I genuinely want to understand how that person is seeing this.
Yeah, how did they come to that conclusion, and
Yeah.
the source of information, and yeah, to be inquisitive about it, and you know, and it's judging, and oh my God, and yeah.
It is fascinating. It's like, well, I do in some respects, sort of when you're sitting back and looking back at it, think, well, no wonder we've attracted these mad controllers, because people are not behaving in
I
general.
don't see it like that, though. I don't see it like we have attracted them, because this has been in the plan many decades going back. If you look, you can't look in the history books because they're
They're
not
not real. Yeah.
accurate anymore. But it's, I think the common people like you and I and everybody else, we just want a good life. Everybody wants the same. We want a roof over our head, we want a bed, we want food and water, and we want our family and close friends to be safe as well. And it's just so simple. So on that level, I don't think we have attracted it as such. I think the control has been put on us, and then we haven't put our foot down and said stop, because it's more comfortable sitting in the sofa at home complaining. So I think people that are like Ole, my husband, that are digging deep and trying to get the truth out there on all these different assassinations and false flags and everything like that, watch these people, you know, not only my husband, there's so many others that are digging deep into different fields, you know, and actually put some energy under where this is the truth. This is not coming from some controlled program system for us to actually go and do something that we might not want to do, but we do it anyway because the peer pressure is high, or we can't fly, or we can't, you know, it's, so the system is completely broken, I think. So I don't see it as we have attracted them. This has been put on us. But we are the ones that can do something about it, which is great.
Yeah, it is interesting because I do see it differently,
Yeah.
just in terms of the fact that almost like the laws of the universe are the laws of the universe. So we either attract what we're putting out there at a conscious or subconscious level or not. Because when we say that people want, it's really interesting because there's that age-old saying, it's like, if you say your family is the most important thing in the world for you, just as an example, then look at people's diaries and look at what they're spending their day, because we think it's the most important and then put no investment into that. You know, we're not with our family all the time, not doing that. So I think so many of us, we might think we want what you've just said about, you know, a family, food, shelter, not have to worry about that. But what we're spending our time and actually doing is the fast car, the holidays abroad, the this. We actually are telling the universe we want something different, if that makes sense, that there's an energetic mismatch.
Absolutely.
What I can't see is, like, you know, it's a bit like the chicken or the egg, really. Who's ever going to answer that question? Which came first?
Yeah.
They're co-creating together. And I think I've heard it said so many times by so many different people, you know, we create our own reality. We can energetically only attract the vibration we're on. So no wonder everyone's seeing everything so differently. And if we sort of mastered some of these skills, like people like Joe Dispenza are teaching, and so many other wonderful people, it's incredible when you watch what someone like him can fit into a day. I mean, his energy levels are just off the scale, aren't they? I mean, how he's just, don't know what the word is, channels it or anything. And such a good example of when you are on purpose and in the flow, that there's just constant stream of energy coming through you.
But
It's
Catherine, don't you see it though? I understand what you mean, but like when you say that family is the most important, but we don't invest time in that because we want the fast car or we want that. But the way I see it now after this course is that because we have conditioned the body to need something in order to feel. So meaning then that again, it's not actually you making that choice, because your heart wants to stay with your family and your kids and not being on the phone or getting the latest iPhone or whatever, because the body thinks it needs that in order to feel or be happy. But if we work past that, then we will spend more time with the family. I mean, Ole and I, normally have lunch in front of watching something. Now we don't do that. We sit and talk and going back to that. You remember when we were growing up, we didn't have internet, obviously. So we always had dinner together, me, my
Yeah.
sister, and mother, and the parents, and we were socializing more. But now we need the screens, and I'm addicted to it as well. I have to really work at it. I'm like, oh, no, you again. I go, even when I'm not in meditation, you again. No, I'm not doing that. I'm actually going to do this. So again, it's going back to that, taking control of ourselves.
I agree. I don't think there's a single one of us that hasn't got addictions.
No, we all
I
have
mean, I've got loads. When I have been studying healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. I love it. I've just been out this morning picking blackberries before we start. I hope I haven't got them all in my teeth. But when I go and fill up my car with petrol, it's so hard for me to resist buying that chocolate bar at the same time. And in terms of addiction to information is a huge one at the moment, because we can think, and I'm not saying it's wrong, because it's not always wrong, it's that balance, isn't it, between, well, actually I want to work on my spiritual development, I want to work on this, I want to work on that, so we're flooding, but it's the integration. So I think we're all addicted, and this is where I think, again, having really good friends around you, whether it's family, whether it's friends, there's challenges in all directions,
Yeah.
whether it's a mentor or a guide or a teacher, whatever you want to do it, because we cannot see our own blind spots. They wouldn't be
No,
blind spots if we could see them.
absolutely. Yeah, it's so important because they mirror us as well. And if they're
Yeah,
really good friends, they go, Kim, come on, that's not okay. I'm like, oh, shoot. And also, everybody thinks, oh, I need to go to this course or whatever. I haven't got the money. No, but if you have a few friends, or if you have a few some family around, or if you're by yourself, you can get everything online and actually
yeah,
do a little retreat together. Because I said to Oli, this would be fun to do a few people, because then you
yeah.
discuss and share your experiences of what happens. So it doesn't have to be so complicated, but it's a challenge to do it, especially for the body, because it's like, oh.
Completely. It's such a challenge. And I think, recognizing our challenges and recognizing when we're struggling and finding it difficult is just
Yeah.
part and parcel of it. It is so, if it was easy, then none of these discussions would be necessary.
No.
There's a big difference between simple and easy. And it's really fascinating when I see how quickly, I think, when you've got a real purpose in mind. You started the conversation off, Kim, with something that was so important about understanding, who do you want your future self to be, and really defining that, because we're all different, and we know what that picture of what we all want ourselves to look like will be really different for each of us. And that's why I think, if you're a sports person or someone that's got a really clear goal they're trying to achieve, their discipline is amazing. I mean, I look at my children with their sports, and they're so on point with their discipline and their habits and their diet and things like that, because they've got that goal in mind. But for so many of us, we haven't got a particular goal in mind, which is recreating ourselves. And therefore, no wonder we slip off track. So, what have you really learned in terms of ways that people that are watching this could start that process of defining what they want their future self to be like? How do you begin looking and creating that?
Yeah, it's interesting because we did in this course that he does, online course that we got. He brings a lady on that he says you need to do a mind movie. You remember when The Secret came out? Everybody
Yeah,
was doing boards, but
yeah,
this is completely different because he
yeah,
incorporates. You make your own mind movie. It's actually a movie. So if you're not technical, there's easy programs you can do it, and then you put in what you want, and that it starts for me then starts with how I want to show up in the world, just how do I want to be as a person, on all levels, and then things that I want to experience and have in my life in the future. So what he does then is he takes kaleidoscope with it videos, which is so trance, you know, you go into trance almost. So you do 8 minutes of a kaleidoscope video with a really smooth music. Then you do 2 times your own mind movie, which is 8 minutes. And then you do the kaleidoscope again, and then yours again. And the last kaleidoscope is with your own music, because you pick a song as well. So in total, it's 40 minutes. And for me, that has helped so much, because then the brain goes into trance almost. And I see these videos that I put together only for me. And it's really important to put I am in front of everything. So now when I hear this song that I picked, you know, I'm like, I'm there, and I'm my jelly belly is gone. And, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going into that. So it's fun to play around with this as well, to really walk around being in my future me, or my future I. And also for me, the easiest tool I have is gratitude. So I said that before, and I've had that for 10, 15 years. I said it when we started with our teacher in Sanskrit, in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It's called Samtosha. And that means contentment. And I said, like 15 years ago, I said, I want to be the queen of contentment, Samtosha. So combining that, and then also remembering that every day, you know, because I'm pretty fast in my way of talking, and sometimes I come with a comment too fast. And I need to learn how to step slowly and a bit more gentle, because some people are a bit, whoa, you know, too much energy. And maybe not too much energy, but I'm quick in my replies. And sometimes that comes out not so nice. It could be too blunt for the person in the other end. So it's just personal things that but I included everything. 4 minutes is a lot of time. And with my song, I picked Corner of the Earth with Jamiroquai. I love that song.
Oh, I love it. It's so great. And these things, I remember Natalie Ledwell doing her mime movies, as you say, when The Secret came out and everything. And it's funny because I still get emails from her that I didn't realise I was still on the list. But these things are really, really helpful, because I think everyone watching this, we all know we're being mind controlled from the negative, but we can use that exact same process to do it for the positive as well. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. And subscribe to some positive news. It's hard to find, actually, but they are like positive news channels that only broadcast or writes about positive things. And it's quite amusing to read.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. It's really reprogramming ourselves in really what we do want. And I think, you know, that's for me it's really interesting, even asking ourselves on a daily basis, what have I chosen to watch or listen to or discuss today, will really tell us where we're actually at, not where we like to think we're at.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I laugh at myself all the time when I do that. I think I'm at this stage, and then I think, well, what choices did I make today? Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Kim. So remind us again. Remind us again, the link will be below. If anyone wants to sort of, really look at an objective review, and, look at where their intuition is for that. If they want to join the webinar on Sunday, all the links will be below. We will be putting this out. We're going to be spreading lots of positive news moving forward. We're going to be spending lots of tools and techniques that are helping us, and how we're finding to implement them, what we're finding easy, what we're struggling with, how we get over those struggles and things. So please do come back and join us. Any final words from you, Kim?
Just be in joy. Have some fun. Don't take life so seriously. I'm talking to myself as well, because it's way too serious at the moment. We're here to enjoy. We really are.
We really are. We really are. And there's so much opportunity to do it. Let's do it. Thanks so much, Kim. Thank you so much, everyone listening. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what's working for you. We really want to hear it.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.